Hello, this is Courtney Gooden, and this is an overview video for the TechnoWeenies Video Playback Toolkit. Well, you may be asking yourself, what the heck is a TechnoWeenies Video Playback Toolkit? And by means of explanation, I've been a video engineer for motion pictures, television, and commercials for the last 25 years or so, and as a video engineer for doing video playback, now this is not video assist, this is video playback, 24-frame playback on camera, where you're asked to play back video on a television screen or on a wall of monitors or desktop monitors, anything that appears on camera and has to do with advancing the plot in a television show or a movie or in a commercial. So now that I've semi-retired, I've decided to take some of the tools that I've created for myself and package them up into some hardware that can be used for doing video playback on the set and maybe be a little bit useful to other guys that are doing it in the field. I've packaged it onto this piece of hardware, which is a little stick PC. It's a full Windows 8 PC. It is fanless. It has a quad-core Intel processor, and it supports full 1080p video out of its HDMI port, so you can this is small enough you can slide it into your laptop bag and bring it with you. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife for the video playback engineer, because it can help you out of a lot of sticky situations. So the software all comes on this. It has a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Also comes with this Bluetooth portable keyboard, which has a touchpad for mouse control, a full QWERTY keyboard including the function keys, and can wirelessly control the unit to control all the video playback. Now let's take a look at the software that comes on the unit. When you boot it up, it's a full Windows PC, so anything you can run in Windows you can run on this. So it'll play back director files. Anything you can play back on your desktop computer will run here. Word files, you can run PowerPoint, anything like that. But the main playback software comes in this little launcher here, and it consists of these 6 individual programs. Now I'm going to go through these quickly as I can in this overview to show you what these different video playback programs do. I wrote this to create a interface, a video player that, unlike the Windows Media Player, QuickTime Player, it doesn't have any of the nasty controls on the video screen here. So you can see the video screen is very clean. It has a single border around it. It doesn't. All the controls appear in the separate floating window, which can be hidden. So it's easy to hide that and control everything remotely. I just hit the R key, that hides. Now I can start, stop. I can queue up to the beginning. I can go to black. I can go full screen on my video. I can go to a logo at any time. And I'll pop up the remote here so you can see what's going on. So because it has this clean video window, you don't have any of the typical, where you'd see the title of the video playing, or you'd see a pause button appear whenever you paused the video. None of that appears in this video window. So it's very clean for doing full screen video playback. As I said before, this has some other useful features for playback. It has these start mark and an end mark, which can be moved independently, so you can set a new in cue and out cue, and it will seamlessly loop between the in cue and the out cue. So let me go down here near the end, and you can see it loop back to the beginning. So it doesn't just loop just then, so it does a seamless loop. And you also have bookmarks, which you can put in here. I've got 4 of them loaded in here right now, so I can hit F1 or F3 or F2. You can go randomly to any of the bookmarks you set, and it's very easy to set those bookmark files while you're playing it back. You can just hold down the Shift key and hit one of the function keys to drop a bookmark. Let's say I wanted to put the 4 bookmark right here. I just went to Shift F4 and I moved that bookmark to right at that particular frame, and now whenever I hit F4 it'll come back to that particular spot. In addition to bookmarks and start and end point, you have the ability to scale the video. Besides scaling, you can put it in a window, and that window is of course scalable, as I showed you in the video. Will automatically size itself to fill the window normally. But it has another mode where you can scale the video within the window. So once you select your window size, and that can be full screen or in a window, you can click on manually scale and then scale the video within the window. So I can crop out things. I can make the window smaller or larger than the video frame itself. This is useful for, and of course this works full screen as well. If I'm manually scaling, I can scale it up to larger than the window, and I can also move it around once I have it scaled up, so I can use it to position the area of interest that I want to see in the video. And now when I queue it up, it'll just play back that scaled version in that video window. So that is manual scaling. It also, like I showed you, has the ability to go to black at any point in time. That's useful for pretending that you're turning off the set. So you just hit the space bar to bring it back. You can queue it back up to the beginning. You can queue it. You can go to one of the function keys to queue it to a different part while you're in black. So you can come up at a different spot each time. Or you have the ability to load these stills in. Now, I call them logo screens just because I use the L key to bring them up. You can load up to 5 of them. You see them down here in the bottom of the remote window. You can load up to 5 still, they're just JPEG, still frames. And you can choose between them by double-clicking on them, or you can use a hotkey on the keyboard to go to any of them randomly. And it pauses the video and when it puts up the logo screen, so then when I hit the space bar to start playing again, it switches back from the still screen to the video. So this is handy to have if you want to have let's say a desktop up there, and then you want to pop or go to the video at some point. It's easy to do that with just a single keystroke. Very handy to have. All of these video programs can be controlled from the little wireless remote that I showed you, or over the network from another computer. So if any computer that has Wi-Fi and can see this particular computer over on the same local area network can be controlled, and we'll get into that a little bit later. That's most of the highlights. There's also a time code window you can pop up here. You can position that window anywhere you like. If you have to set it as a story point about a certain time of day, you can set a time of day here into the start time code window, and then it'll always start at that time whenever you queue it up. So if you're supposed to be looking at security video or something that took place at a certain time of day, then you can set it to that time of day and have it show your security video. You can also scale this down and get rid of the frames. If you don't want to see the frames, you see hours, minutes, and seconds, so you can see frames. You can make it very big or very small. Scale it and position it however you like. And that's the time code window. All right, moving on to the next. Let me bring up my launcher here again. The next one is a bit unusual. I've never seen it in any video player that's out there. This particular program can play back up to 9 high-def videos in a single window. Now this is playing back 9, and each one of these are actual high-def videos, and I have control over all of them. I can start, stop, I can stop, start. I can queue them back up to the beginning of each video to the start mark. You can have independent start marks for each of these individual videos. And this is not a composite. These are 9 full-screen, full-res videos, high-def videos. So, and I can, like I say, I can go full screen on any one of them many times. So, and you have a variety of layouts that the multi-view can use. And this is very useful for using when you're simulating a security office where they're monitoring multiple security cameras. You just load videos for each POV of each security camera into each one of the windows here, and then you can control them, start, stop, and queue them up for continuity's sake, so that they're running in sync with each other. They all loop independently, so as each video hits the end of its respective length or its respective out queue, it will loop seamlessly back to the in queue. So you probably won't see the loops. They'll be kind of seamless because they'll all be looping at different points if they're different lengths. So you can set it so it can be up there and playing back all day long, and you'll never see it run out. Let's look at the different layouts. You have this quad split. It's 1 through 4, or quad split with the second 4. There's 5 through 8. These little titles that appear up here in the left-hand corner, they can be turned on or off with a keystroke. Alt-T turns that on or off. Each one can be positioned. You can edit them. You can just double-click on them, enter whatever you like in there, and when you hit return, it'll automatically size itself. You can position them. If you hold down the Shift key, when you let go of them, they'll position all of them in the same position. So you can easily move all of them in each window. Or like I say, you can turn them off. We saw 3x3 before. There's 4x2. This is used, you can scale these as well. So this is also scalable. Besides being full screen, it can be in a scalable window, which will automatically position the videos and scale them to fit as you scale that video up or down. That's the 4x4. Come on, mouse. All right, there's the 4x4. And let me go back to full screen because it's just a little easier to see here. Then there's 1+5, which is useful for simulating security video where you have one screen of interest and 5 others that are other points of view that aren't as crucial to the scene. Or you've got one even larger that's I think it's 3 sizes of the smaller, up to 3 times the size of the smaller windows. Then you have 7 other windows, and all of these, of course, are running the videos that you selected. You queue them up, start and stop them in sync with each other. And the last layout is this 2+8, and that's useful to have for simulating a multi-view in a television control room where you'd have a preview and a program window. And your individual cameras would then be down here at the bottom. This number 10 here is actually still, so you can go whatever still you have loaded in there. I have color bars in there now. You just hit the L key. We'll go full screen if you want to go full screen on the logo file. So your 10th, rounding out your 10th little window here, and this layout is a still, which you can choose whatever you want to. It'll load it in there. This also has a clock in it that you can bring up on screen. I have it on top of that 10th window here, but it's positionable anywhere you want. If it needs to be a story point where you have a certain time of day, you can set it to be any time of day. It's scalable and positionable. You can even fill a window with it if you want. Down here, let's see if I can talented enough to use the mouse here. Say I want to fill that window with the clock, and you can then turn it on and off with the control key as well. So if you don't want to see the clock, you can always turn it off. That is multi-view. Let's see, I think I covered most. Oh, you can adjust the title size. There's a whole lot of granular control over the layout of this stuff. The look and feel. You can change the colors of the little legends in there. You can change the color of the border that's between the windows here. You can even change the size of the border. You can change the border width up, or you can get rid of the border completely by bringing it all the way down. Another interesting thing is if you want to put a live video in one of the windows, like let's see, instead of this basketball here, I'd take the output of my output of this stick PC and feed it into a switcher, and then I can pop a green screen into any window that I select here, and I could then composite in a live video image from a camera, like one of the main hero cameras, etc. It could be then matted into this particular frame if you needed to see one of the cameras live in one of these windows, since there are no inputs in this particular tiny PC. I think that covers, let me go back to a nice border color instead of the garish yellow. You have control over the volume of each of these, or you can have them all muted like I have now. You can control the volume of each individual one, so you can pick which one you want to hear, etc. So that is the Multi-View 9. This next one is a called triple screen. Now it's kind of similar to Multiview 9 in that it plays back multiple videos in sync with each other. You have the same controls. You stop, start, cue them up to the beginning. You can go to black or go to a logo file. Each one has its own separate logo file. But this, instead of being laid out in a single window, each of these is in a separate floating window. So each video window can be positioned, scaled, and you can use this for doing video, doing picture-in-picture, which we'll get to some of the layouts here that you can use in a minute. And then, like I say, it also is controllable over the network and can be used with multiple monitors. Well, how could you use it with multiple monitors since there's only one HDMI output on this particular unit? Well, there is a solution to that, and it comes as this additional thing, which you can purchase for around $50. It plugs into the USB port and gives you an additional 2 video outputs. So you can now run 3 separate screens. There's an additional HDMI output and a combination DVI, HDMI, and VGA port. With adapters, you can take this DVI port and get VGA or HDMI out of it. So you could have 3 separate monitors all running off this single stick PC. So then if I click on the split 3, it would automatically split the 3 windows off to their respective monitors and let you have 3 separate monitors that are under the control of this single remote. Like the others, this remote can be hidden. You then use the hotkeys to queue up and start and stop, go to black, etc. This also has layouts, which you can use. Clicked on the split 3. It has 3 vertical, 3 horizontal. Has a layout that's useful if you just have a single screen up for doing like news shows where you have 2 people in boxes like this. Let me cue this up to the beginning where you can see 2 people there. You can then, you can position by holding down the control key. You can slide the image around to center each one if you need to. It'll automatically center each video in these boxes that are not the same aspect ratio, but that can be used for simulating a news show where you have 2 people, 2 interviewees, and it takes the first video number 1 and puts it full screen in the background and puts these other 2 boxes on top. It also has 3 boxes where you can put 3 interviewers up side by side. And like I say, these boxes are still movable and sizable, so you can adjust it however you need it, but that just gives you a quick way to lay them out. This also supports the green screen, the green screen if you want to lay in a live video image into one of these. You just hit green and then you can composite that through a switcher, etc. I think that covers most of this. Oh, one other cute trick it can do. If you go full screen on all of them, now you can switch. All 3 are running, and they're all 3 running full screen on a single monitor. So let me hide my control here. Now I can simply cut between the 3 different videos using the Shift key and 1, 2, 3. So I can switch between them as if I'm switching a live, 3 different live feeds. And I can switch them at any time on cue with a dialogue, a piece of dialogue, etc. Useful in simulating television studios where they're switching between cameras. And since they're all 3 running simultaneously in sync, when I cue them all up and start them, they all start in sync. So they would be synced between the 3 different cameras as I switch between them. So that is the triple screen. And moving along to the final video player here, which is the TechnoWeenies list player. Now what this is used for is if you're doing a live show or a news show where you have to play back a series of clips, and you simply put them, you build this list here, and then you can save that list and load it back in anytime you want. And then this will play them back. You have all the same controls. You have the markers, you have the in points and out points that are settable, so you can trim your videos, each individual video that loads. And then when they play, they will either trigger the next video at the end, or it will do a variety of things. You can choose it to either loop this file, or pause in black, pause in a still frame of the next video up, pause in a logo. You can load up to 9. You have 9 different logo files that can be loaded into memory here. So, for example, there it was set to pause in logo when it hits the video, end of the video. So it'll just pause in there, and whenever you hit the space bar, it'll just start playing the next video. So it's very handy to have in a live show where you have your show still, or a title slide, for example. Of course, these would normally be in full screen mode, but or you'd use this with a dual displays, where you could have this remote up on one display so you could see what's going on here, because it gives you some useful information like time to the next video up here as a countdown, current position. Then you can also control where you are in this video, and you have the same controls. You can cue it back up to the beginning. You can go to black, and you can go to the logo file with a hotkey as well. So this is the list player. This also can be controlled from the net remote as well, which we'll get into right now. So that is the TechnoWeenies list player. Now let's take a look at the net remote. And this is a little program that will run on any laptop or a tablet PC. I like to run it on a little 8-inch tablet that I bought for about $100, and it runs Windows. And it can be used to control the other players. Unlike most other video players, these can be loaded. You can run multiple instances on a single computer. So I'm going to load one instance in here of my media player and put it down here, and then I'm going to load another one and load a different video in that one. There we go. Put it in a window, put it over here. Let's say put this window down here, just get it out of the way. So now I've got these two videos. They might be running on different machines. Anything that's on the network, it can see. So even they can be, multiple players on a single machine. It can be a single player on, one player on each of 4 different machines. You connect to them over the net remote by using this IP address, which you load into your net remote down here on each individual player. Hit connect, and then it launches this little slave unit for the remote control. Now you can control up to 12 individual players of the player programs from a single net remote. Now I've got these 2, so now when I hit pause, it pauses both of them. I hit reset, it resets them both to the beginning. Oh, these are the same one loaded in each, so you can see how they play back in sync. So now if I hit play, it plays them back in sync. Or I can go to next cue, etc. So it's jumping between these different bookmarks. Of course, you can do the same thing if it had a different video loaded in here. And you can even load a different video over the net remote. So from the little tablet, I can choose a different video from this drop down here. This drop down contains everything that's in that particular, all the videos in that particular folder that you have on the remote. So if I wanted to load a different one into number 1 here, I can just do that, or a different one into number 2. Do that. And I can I also have control, also the same controls. I can go to the logos in each one. You can have a different logo loaded into each one. And so then if I go to logo or go to black on both of them, and when I start playing back, they both start playing back in sync. So like I say, you can add, as you connect each one, it'll pop up a new remote here. Up to 12 can then be slaved over the single master control from a separate computer anywhere. So that is the net remote. And I've got one more program to show you, which is just a little utility that I wrote to help out. Frequently you get on the set and they don't have the video that you're supposed to play back, so they say, can you just put up a blue screen, because we're going to lay it in post. We're going to track it and lay that last screen in post. So I have a multi-res blue screen generator, which will automatically fill the size any resolution screen. It's got some controls here. You can also control it wirelessly from the little remote control with hotkeys. So you don't have to bring this up, but you can choose, here I'll use the hotkeys, green or blue or white. You have these witness marks, which are tracking marks, can be turned on or off. I've got the crosses turned on now. You have circles, and you can even adjust the size of the witness marks to whatever you need. You can change their color and choose the color of the witness marks. They can be blue or green or red or white. You can have a grid that you can turn on. You can also, the other neat thing is, let me turn off the circles. Let's see, control the witness size and the witness width. You can make them thicker or thinner, depending upon the resolution of the cameras that you're using to shoot this with. Another handy thing, you can control the brightness so that, I'm controlling the width right there. Let me control the brightness. Let me just hide the control panel, it might be better. So now I can control the brightness with hotkeys from the little remote. So I can use it to light the actor's face up if I've got white up here, or if I've got green. I can easily bring the level of the green screen down to where it's not spilling on the actors very much. It just gives you enough green to be able to composite if somebody gets in front of the screen to pull a matte, but it doesn't spill so as to wash out a lot of the actors or anything that's close to the image here. Besides, and you can also turn on and off the control marks, the witness marks there. We use another thing for tracking, for 3D tracking. It's called patches. I've got it turned on there, and what it does is it throws up this random set of patches on the screen. They're just slightly off in color from whatever color you have set. If you have blue or green, and you can and every time you turn it on, it uses a different and also bring up the contrast on them to any level that you want to, long as it satisfies the effects supervisor and the cameraman, so that you can still be contrasty enough to find them and find the corners of them and pull a matte. So this can give you something that they can track, yet it doesn't interfere very much with pulling a blue screen matte, because they're close enough in color to the background of the original background color, so they can still easily pull a matte without having to paint out things like the crosses. If I had the crosses turned on and a different color, let's say I put the crosses were white. Let's see, the witness color white, and had them a little thicker. So they'd have to paint those out or key them out separately by hand if somebody crossed in front of one of those. So using the patches gives you a means to track the window without having to use the individual witness marks. You also have black if you want to track the reflection matte in the window. They like to lay the reflection back on top of the screen later, so that looks a lot more real. And that is the blue screen generator. You can run multiple instances of this on the single machine, so if you have 3 different windows, you can put different patches on each one, or a green screen and a blue screen on different monitors hooked up to this unit at the same time. So that concludes the overview of the TechnoWeenies Video Playback Toolkit. I hope to have a individual instruction video for each one of these players. It goes a little more deeply into how to load videos and all the hotkeys and all the secret hidden features that that I can't really cover in this overview video. So that's about it. Stay tuned for one of the others, and thanks for watching.